Hey y'all, welcome to our 16th episode here of the Three Spiritual Chicks. I am Joy, aka A Joyous Connection.
I'm T, aka Rose Red.
And I am Jazz, aka Jazz the Medium.
Well,
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are on episode 16. Can you believe it?
Whoop whoop.
16. That's amazing. That is amazing.
it is.
So we
I
have went
cannot.
from a thought to recording 16 episodes.
Yeah, that's because you've been that just goes to show how you've been hard on me. Uh huh.
And then y'all love, y'all really. Okay. So we wanted to talk. Um, well, Tiara had a conversation with her cousin, and they brought up a valid subject. Tiara, you want to kind of go into detail about it?
Sure. Um, this past week I had a conversation with one of my cousins, and they had asked me what's the master level of spirituality? What level are you at right now? Like, do you have your high school diploma? You have your bachelor's degree? Are you at your PhD? Um, and my thought process was, this is on this journey, you're forever growing, you're forever evolving, you're forever ascending. However, based on a conversation that we've had offline, um, there are things that I do recognize that show um, that there are different levels of this spiritual journey. And there are also things that show us that we are no longer where we were. And I guess the biggest thing I can say to that is the fact that we're here recording on a podcast. If you since y'all been following us on this journey, in our first episode, you know that I've been the one that's been running from my gifts, and I literally just shared a download that I received, and Jazz did not give me any time to back out. So that conversation was on that Thursday, and that Tuesday we recorded our very first episode. So that's another reason why it's like, wow, we are at episode 16 already. So just with that, using that as an example, it does show that there are levels to us on this journey. And that just shows that I'm not running anymore. So that's how we got here today for this topic. And um, there's so many different areas that we could definitely go into tonight. So yeah, that's how we got here today, y'all.
Ooh, after we're done talking about this, I actually do have a question for you guys.
Okay.
I
Okay.
do. So, Joy, what do you think about like about what they talked about? Would you
As far as the levels, it's definitely different levels. Um, I don't know, like I don't know how to place it, right? Because I'll be all over the place. But when I say I don't know how to place it, um, um, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm giving a blank right now, and the reason being is because I would say if there's a preschool level, right? If we're going to talk like school wise, right? Preschool level, what I would see is starting with understanding who you are, um, and then understanding that we're all spiritual beings, right? And then from there, being able to tap into whatever gifts you may have, if you have some. I mean, some people may just be natural healers, which I think that's a gift as well. Um, and then graduating, the more you practice, the more you embrace like who you personally are. Um, is what I would consider like graduating and then going into the mastery and going from preschool to elementary school to middle school to high school based off practicing and just embracing each part of yourself. And I would say letting go stereotypes. Hey, going into my conversation with my cousin. I ain't gonna talk about it right now. Did that make sense?
It did.
Okay.
It
See,
definitely
look,
did.
you didn't draw no blank, honey. You didn't
Okay.
draw. So, um, we are all here to experience things. That's why we chose to have this experience here. And for every individual, it's just different depending on what your soul wants to experience. And I think we just come here to master whatever we came here to experience. And we have people like part of our soul tribe to help us on the way. Sometimes we receive hints and clues. Sometimes we receive blueprints, like some of us might learn astrology, or some people might study their family history, or people might go to therapy or whatever. Or we get these codes and these blueprints to kind of learn how to navigate this thing called life, to learn these lessons. And as we experience things and we learn from them, we evolve.
Mhm.
What is mastery? I do believe that there is a such thing as a master, like a mastery level. Like, I believe you've mastered something when you're able to teach it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think you've mastered something where you've experienced it enough to where you don't have to go through it again. But you can teach. A master is somebody who can teach what they've learned. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. So an example would be like a relationship expert or a marriage expert. Um, they went to college. They've got degrees in psychology or counseling or whatever for relationships. They've experienced relationships and divorces or whatnot. They've been through all walks of life. They experience all different types of patients and complexities from all walks of life. And now they are able to fully talk about it because they've mastered that. They've got a masterate or a doctorate's degree in that. So they are considered an expert. To me, when it comes to our human experience, part of what you said, mastery, of course, is a part of mastering yourself and
Mhm.
what you come here to do. But it's also, I believe it more so has to do with perception. And I say that because we're always going to experience things. Always, as humans, we're going to experience life. We're going to experience death. Things are going to happen. Unexpected things. I don't care. You can be the wisest monk of the masters, all the way up in the mountains somewhere. You're going to experience something.
Mhm.
Okay. So, what's your response to it? How do you perceive, and how do you react to it? That's mastery. That's mastery. So, whenever you can go from one extreme to another and you can remain neutral, that's a form of mastery. Let's say you were very rich and then you went to being very poor, but you were able to remain right in the middle, which is neutral. That's like a form of mastery. So I just believe that when you understand what the human experience really is, to the point to where you can respond with neutrality, that middle place right there, no emotion. That's,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna feel like no emotion, because it's okay to have emotions, but it's the overstanding that it's okay to feel those emotions. Does that make sense? And I know it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard to break down, but it's just like it's remaining neutral. understanding that we are here on earth. We chose to have this human experience, and because we chose to have this human experience, we have mastered the idea that some things aren't going to be so pleasant, but they don't have to be viewed as suffering. Um, and to me, that is like a form of mastery. Whenever you are able to remain in that middle space of neutrality, to understand that there's no right or wrong, there's no yes or no, there's no none of that. That right in that little sweet spot, I think that's mastery, and that's very difficult for people, for us to get to when we're having all of these human experiences, because they'll be tested. And as you master things over life, those tests get harder.
Yeah, we gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
So I got a question based on what you just said. Okay.
yeah,
So right now, y'all both know offline, and I'm gonna share this online. I am going through the one of the most challenging times ever in the workplace. When I say ever, I mean ever. So, with the help of these ladies, um, as well as on this spiritual journey, I'm learning that my lesson with where I am right now is patience. Patience, as well as learning to be quiet. I'm someone that, even in the professional realm, at work, I'm going to, if you did something wrong, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to break down why it's wrong, how we make and fix it to move forward. But there have been several things that have happened at work. And literally, I've been hearing my mama to tell me to shut up. And I'm not liking it. Just to put it plainly, I am not liking it. Especially when things are being revealed to me, um, um, about two-faced people at work. I'll give you an example. Um, yeah, they're gonna see this. I don't even give a damn. For example, there's a person at work, and when I tell you, my mama has revealed everything. When I say everything, I've seen the conversations. I've seen. I've been shown how they move. And granted, don't get me wrong, my team doing a thing behind the scenes. As always, your team is always protecting. That's why the baby steps to preschool is learning who you're learning, having a relationship with your spiritual team and your spirit guides. Um, so my mama's showing me all this, and I'm someone that I can't be fake. Once I peep something, I don't fuck with you. I'm done. Don't say shit to me. Keep your ass way the fuck over there. We ain't got nothing to talk about. If it ain't work related, don't say nothing to me. There's been previous jobs where things like this have happened, and I can work beside you the whole damn shift and won't say shit to you. If it ain't work related, I ain't got nothing to say. Okay? However, right now, my mama telling me we not doing that. Don't let these people change who you are at your core. And it's very hard. It's very hard. So, without going too deep into this, Jazz, I'm just gonna bring it back to what you just said by the level of mastery. So, am I understanding you correctly that with what I'm dealing with in the workplace, the fact that I'm listening to my spirit team, um, being patient, following their guidance, would you consider that a form of mastery? Because I'm not doing what I want to do, and yeah, I want to go left. and I'm being told to chill out. How does that um correlate to what you just said?
Does it still cause you to have an emotional response?
You in high school. Yeah. You ain't mastered yet.
Yeah.
You ain't got your message yet.
What?
Let me,
No,
okay,
just
so
play.
story time real quick. And these are for people who don't, it is for people who have choke at the workplace. I'm going to tell a story time. So a few years ago, this was a long time ago, I was a unit manager at a unit at my old job that I was at for 17 years. And we hired this new nurse. And me and this nurse, we just never saw eye to eye. I mean, she was just saying all of these mean things about me. She was saying I wasn't doing my job. She was trying to control me. She would send me email. Mind you, she wasn't even over me. She wasn't even my boss. We were like parallel, but a different department. I was unit managing, and she was MDS. We were two different. You know what I mean? She did the care plans and the coding, and I did the nursing, the clinical part, and the nursing staff. But she was on my ass and would report me and talk about me every moment that she get. And it used to make me so upset, so upset. So I remember one time, my boss at the time, the director of nursing, she called me downstairs and she had a 2-page paper written up. Basically, she had everything written that this lady was saying about me. 2 pages. And she said, basically, I should fire you right now. Imagine, I didn't hear my side of the story, didn't investigate anything. She said, I should fire you right now. She said, you got she said, you got 45 days to fix this. If if I haven't seen any improvement within 45 days, we're going to go ahead and remove you from your position. And I remember, I'm like, oh my gosh. When I say I couldn't stand this lady, if she died at that time, I probably wouldn't even gave a damn. I ain't gonna hold you. So I remember calling Ali, my teacher, shout out to Ali. And I was like, Ali, I need you right now. And I seldomly ever bother Ali. So when I call him, he know I need him because I try not to bother him. So when he know I call him, I need him. And I had a meltdown. And I remember what he said, like, why is this bothering you? He said, are you doing your job? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? If you are confident that you are doing your job and doing what you are supposed to do, then this lady shouldn't have anything to say. And when I thought about it, I'm like, the reason why I was responding to her emotionally is because she called me out on my bullshit. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. She called me out. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, even though for the most part I was, she did exaggerate it, but I didn't believe I was doing what I was supposed to do because I responded to her. Because if I had the confidence that I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, whether I was or I wasn't, what she said wouldn't have bothered me. But because of that, that provoked an emotional response. But after that, I said, you know what? I tightened my screws a little bit. I only communicated with her in writing, very respectfully, very professionally. I made sure all my T's were crossed and all my I's were dotted. I remained respectful and I spoke. But at home, when I went home and I got to my altar work and my prayer work, I said, either remove me or remove her, whatever is best for my highest good. And I left it there. Um, a while passed, and I remember, and I said that last prayer at the altar, talking to the ancestors. I said, either remove me or remove her or anybody that's against me. I come to work that following Monday to a note up under my door. One of the nurses that I was closest to, that I trusted with everything, that helped me out when I wasn't in the building, magically resigned. It said she was going to work with this nurse and did not come back. And when that nurse came to work, she just kept staring at me. And she pulled me to the side and she said, can I please give you a hug? I said, no. She grabbed me and she gave me a hug anyway. And she says, I'm resigning. My last day is this day. It was very nice working with you. And I never seen that lady again. But after that, I learned And after I learned and I experienced that when I was tested again at work, because I went back to that job, they let me go and I went back and I was tested again and I didn't respond to it. And guess what? I had my receipts because all my shit was A1. All my shit was A1. Sometimes I think we're tested to pull a response. And and already let's look at society. We women and we this. So how we expected to respond? With
Mm.
anger. They're expecting that. Oh, Tiara gonna get mad. Tiara got an attitude. Tiara gonna be petty. So she gonna schedule the patients all weird and funny. She gonna do something all weird and funny because Tiara mad. You know, Tiara mad. Let's make Tiara mad so we can create a paper trail. Let's create a paper trail. Don't get me. I got in trouble for something in my most recent job. I took my write up. I was like, okay, thank you. It still got promoted. It still got a raise.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to have been in contact with a family member that I didn't. I
Mm-hmm.
had to own it. So mastery is that little sweet spot right
So see,
there.
I was thinking mastery is me listening, not being hard headed, but I understand what you're saying. My thought process is my mama said something and I listen, right?
That's better.
But I
No,
get it. But I will
that's
say,
better.
you said what?
That's no, that's good. That's good. You're listening, but stuff like this, it don't fix overnight.
I mean, I know, but and yes, let me be clear. I'm on top of my work. That yes, always dot my I's, cross my T's. As Jazz know, us in healthcare,
Oh
if it
yeah,
ain't documented, it ain't done. So been in this over 25 years. So work is top notch. It's just, learning not to respond to those people. But, okay. All right. Joy, what you got? Take me out the hot seat, please, and thank you.
I
I'm not
don't
on.
really have too much other than so other than the scenario I would say that happened with the phone call that I received
Mm.
yesterday. Um Now my husband gonna laugh, y'all, because I'm gonna be like, babe, you a master. Well, okay. You a master because like what you said, Jazz, is kind of like my response. I wasn't emotional. I let my cousins say what she needed to say. Because I've learned that people gonna have perceptions of you and people gonna feel whatever they feel, so I just kind of let that roll off, but I was still a little hurt by it, only because I ain't talked to her in over a year, and this is the call. Like I think, like I told you, if I would have got a call and just be like, hey, first, and then call back with stuff, I would have been like, okay, but when my husband came in, he said that I told him the scenario. He was just like, he wished that he said when the scenarios that happen like that, so to give people a backstory, have a family member, a cousin that I was extremely close with. I talked about it on the podcast before when Miss Cleo was here, and yeah, we're just on two different journeys. Where she is currently, I was there when I was younger, and I've elevated and grown since then. But I just got a phone call yesterday that wasn't too pleasant, telling me to come back to the Lord because I am moving into dark places. Okay, moving into dark places. So when I talked to my husband about it, that's exactly what he was like, baby. It's one thing about being in a place is pretty much knowing where you are and knowing not to respond and not let your emotions get in the way. You know, um, and I was like, I didn't respond, I didn't do anything like that, babe. I didn't. I just listened to her. And he was like, I heard you. I was like, I'm not being combative. I just listened to her, and he's like, it's a place of kind of the duality, looking at their perspective and your perspective and finding that middle ground. So he was like, he had to throw a little shade in a little bit. make sure he listening and say, I wish you was like me a little bit, you know, got to my level where I'm at. So I'm definitely gonna tell him to be a master. But that mastery place, I know probably with the emotions I felt yesterday, I ain't all the way there yet, but I be feeling like I'm there because I move in love. But see, Dan, I need help on how to separate like my kind of like Tiara, I not that I get offended. It's certain things that happen where because of who I am, and I know I cannot expect for anybody to be who the same way I am, but I end up I have a tendency to take stuff personal, which is like I know who I am. I move in love all the time. Why, why do you gotta come at me? I'm not doing it. I didn't do this when you was.
It's
So I know I'm like not on topic right now, but sorry, I had to turn my camera off, y'all, because I had shared with me a little tear that I was supposed to share yesterday about this. But
been holding back tears the whole time we've been on this. But
huh?
I still understand. I've been holding back tears the whole time we've been on this. I understand.
Okay.
Hold me
Yeah,
in.
but it's yeah, that mastery part of the spirituality, because it can be lonely when you come to a place where you're finally accepting who you are and you're looking at um accepting who you are, and then it's things thrown at it, things thrown at you. It's like, okay, you're moving above there, you're trying to move above it, but then there's always something trying to bring you back down and be like, dang, okay. Well, I know, and my cousin on that call, she was like, you stubborn, you ain't gonna move back. You know what? I'm just gonna come over to your house and we're gonna have a conversation about bringing you to the Lord. So it's just like, yo, I'm where I am, and I love where I am, and on this journey of spirituality or accepting your gifts and things. Um, yeah, it can be hard because we're still human at the end of the day. Regardless of where we feel like we at, we still human at the end of the day. And I be missing my family, so sometimes, even though I love y'all and y'all my family.
Love
You
you
know,
back. So
I
Jazz
lost
tried to blame that on you being a Pisces. So the fact that I just want to speak, you know what I'm saying, my mind and get this shit off my chest. What we blaming that on? Me being a Capricorn? Cause yeah, I'm just
Oh, but you blaming it on me being a Pisces? Yep, girl. Because I be
she's a Pisces. She's a Pisces.
oh, go
Tiara,
ahead, Jazz. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think. Wait, first I was gonna say Tiara. I just think you mushy. You're sensitive, and that toughness is a defense mechanism. That's how you protect yourself.
Mhm. You
Because
know, but
anybody
yeah,
gets scared
yeah.
because they feel like a piece of wind brushed on their arm. Oh no! Oh, no! It touched my arm.
you ain't have to do me like that. You ain't have to do me like that.
It touched my arm. No! Oh, woo! Jazz, Jazz.
You ain't have to do me like
There's a man here. He just touched my arm. It's like,
you
nah.
ain't have to do me like
So now,
that.
Tiara, you've been rocking
You
it.
ain't
Tiara
you ain't
graduated. She's been rocking it.
you ain't have to do me like
So,
that. You ain't have to do me like that.
I'm just kidding with you. So, look, yeah, I'm not at no mastery level. I'll be lying to y'all. Y'all just heard me lose it because two aides threatened to walk out and neglect some patients, and I lost it. So I screamed at y'all on
But
the
you
phone.
lost it with
Hello.
us though, offline. So just be
Oh no, I
clear.
lost it with them too. I told them to clock out. What you're not gonna do is neglect my patients.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care about my patient. I love my patients. I'm a very passionate nurse. I love my folk.
Yeah.
I love the folk. I will go up there. I will take some. I will drink some energy drinks, a monster, something. And I'll go in there, put everybody to bed. You go home now.
Mhm.
What you ain't gonna do is threaten to
Oh,
abandon nobody. I'm still working on it. I'm still getting there. I'm still human. But on this path, I have lost a lot of people, including family. Um,
Man, listen.
You don't have to compromise anything. Okay. And anybody who calls you, who calls you to compromise or try to change or shift what you believe in, even though they think it's an act of love because they think they're doing what's right, is it really an act of love? If you're walking by and you see a beautiful flower growing out the ground and you cut it out and put it in a vase for it to die 3 minutes later, that's not love.
Mm.
But planting it and allowing it to root and grow and watching it grow, that's love. You know, just I just feel that in a path like this, and I know it's taboo and you hear it all the time, um, you have to become comfortable with solitude. You have to become comfortable with
Yeah.
and I used to struggle with that. You have to become comfortable with being alone or not having people used to have. It is really difficult when you start to lose people that you're very close to for whatever reason that may be. And some of the people you pull away from yourself, you know. I can tell you that over the years, and my struggle was relationships. Like I'll mold almost anything to have a relationship, but I had spent some time alone in solitude, and after a while, you just kind of become comfortable in your solitude, and you're okay with that, and you're comfortable when people go away. You know, everybody's not meant to be in your life. You know, maybe that contract you and your cousin have, they're gonna end. It's gonna end for a minute, but maybe later it might come back around again because people do come back around. Quick story. I always got a story time. Tish was a guest on here. That was my best friend. We were inseparable. When I say you didn't see Jasmine without Tish for years, I got another friend that I'm like that with too. But you didn't. We were inseparable. But when I began my spiritual journey, you know, Tish was a little afraid. So when I started to meet new people, she felt like I was they were taking me away from her. So it was a lot of bickering and fighting because our vibrations were different. One wasn't higher than the other. They were just different. And we actually stopped talking for we stopped talking for a long time, like a year or so. We did. Um, she blocked me on everything. I was so hurt at the time. But once she started her spiritual journey, um, it brought us back together, and we're closer than we ever are. And the funny thing is, we don't see each other often. We went from like being over each other's house almost every day to living together. We don't see each other often, but when we do come together, that closeness is still there. You know what I mean? We can still have deep, meaningful conversations. But it took that separation and that growth, that spiritual growth within the both of us for us to come back close again. And we still bicker like siblings sometimes, but you know, now we kind of understand. So, you know, your cousin may circle back around. It's just not meant for her to be on this leg of the journey with you. That's all. I know that's painful to hear because y'all were extremely close. There's no right or wrong in this. She's not wrong for feeling what she feels. That's her belief. But you don't
Yeah,
have to
you could
feel
have saw my text message. I'm gonna send you the text message. My response. It was so lovely.
You know, she better be lucky she got that because for me, she wouldn't even got a response. You ain't obligated to do anything. I just talked to a friend the other day who's mad at me because I haven't called her. You
Mhm.
know, you're not obligated to my time. If I feel like withdrawing and being in solitude, I'm allowed to do so. So
Yeah.
you don't owe nobody no explanation paper except your husband, so he might get you.
Yeah, but my husband, he just be like, "Ooh, okay, babe, whatever." Let's see. On my end, y'all are breaking up bad.
We're breaking up.
That's what Tiara said. Is it
Can y'all
better?
hear me?
I can hear you.
Can
My
y'all hear
reception,
me?
yeah, my reception is good. All my bars are there.
Oh, she didn't live.
Yeah, it might be. It's not my reception this time, because sometimes it's me,
Hmm.
but I think it's her reception. I do want to ask y'all opinion on something
Okay.
before we do the reading section of it, but I'll wait for Miss Tiara to come back. And here she comes.
Can y'all hear me?
I can. So I have a question. It's an opinion. So yesterday morning I was driving to work and I was on the phone with Tish. And she said, "How did you sleep last night?" And I said, "I did not sleep last night because my arthritis in my left hip and left knee and left ankle was extremely painful. I had a difficult time sleeping." And she said, "Don't say that." I said, "Well, why?" She said, "Because when you say things, you call them to you." So I said, "So how do you acknowledge something without saying it? Like, how do you fix a problem if you don't speak on it? You don't say it. Does that make sense?" So, like, um, her belief is, and I knew it was weird because whenever we have our prayer group, she don't pray for herself like that. She'll just say, "I'm healthy, I'm good, and I'm in alignment." But she don't say like, "Okay, this is what I'm praying for." Me, I pray for. I'm specific. Like, look, my left hip is really bothering me. I would like the relief of pain. I'm praying. That's not. I set the intention that the pain be gone. That's how I pray. It got us on the subject of um, Ananda Lewis, who recently passed away from breast cancer, the TV
Hmm.
personality, and she was saying that maybe she should have never said or told anybody that she had cancer. She shouldn't have spoke on it, because when she spoke on it, she owned it virtually. So her spiritual belief is that when we speak things, we call them to us. So whether we're struggling from them or not, we shouldn't speak on them at all. And I wanted to know what y'all opinion was.
I see her perspective because I heard people say that, but that do be hard. It do be hard because yeah, it's like you gotta like kind of acknowledge it. Like my head hurt, and I want my head to stop hurting. So what I'm supposed my head? Well, I can see, but my head is not hurting today. But that's still kind of acknowledging it, though. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because it's the when you're speaking more so of, well, my hip is hurting. Um, it's still speaking in the negative tense. Um, I don't know. Girl, I don't know. Yeah, that's a tricky one because I've been battling that myself for so long. Especially when I be like, "Shoot, we don't got no money," and then it be the kids. I'll be like, "Oh, I can't say that. We don't have." Then I'll say, "Oh,
Our funds are
the money
circulating.
has not manifested in this reality right now, or the money is. We have the money, but it's not here in this reality right now."
So how do we address things without saying it?
Hmm.
How do we do that? If I go to the doctor and the doctor tells me I have a cancer diagnosis, what do I do? Because let's speak about her. She had a video that I watched, and if anybody wants to correct me, I wish I could find it to go back and watch it. I might go back and watch it. But she said that people keep on it's always misinformation. Like people were saying, like, no, the reason why she died for breast cancer was because she got a biopsy and spiritually you're not supposed to do that in the spread. And I'm like, no. The reason why she died from breast cancer is because she had a lump in her breast and she decided
Mhm.
not to acknowledge it. She decided to wait too late to get the proper diagnostic test, which of course pushed back her treatment. So how do we acknowledge things? And then I brought it up to my friend. I'm like, we have somebody in our prayer group who had stage 3 cancer. Okay, stage 3 cancer of a rare cancer with no formal treatment at all. No formal treatment. Um, the chemo that they chose to do for this individual was not a typical chemo they would do for that cancer because there's no typical treatment for it.
Mhm.
And every night during prayer, we spoke intentions. So when he called me and said, "Hey, they did a CT scan. There's a few spots. They're gonna do a PET scan." We spoke. We said, when you go back and get that PET scan, those spots are gonna be gone. And whatever happens next, you're going to go into remission. We spoke that during prayer. We acknowledged the fact that the CT scan had spots, but we set the intention that the PET scan will not have any spots and that he would be in remission. Well, guess what the PET scan had? Nothing. There were no spots on the PET scan, but they still
Mhm.
wanted to go in and do exploratory surgery. And after that, he will be in full remission. He could ring the bell. No more chemo. He's done.
Mhm.
So, how do we acknowledge things without acknowledging them or without calling them to us?
I really don't think you can.
But some can. You say you can.
Tom?
What was his name? That was it Joe Dispenza or was it Dwayne um Dyer who had leukemia and didn't speak on it and was completely healed? I can't think of who, and I don't want to give you the wrong person, but I'll let y'all know later.
Is that just what he told us or told this world? I mean, maybe he didn't speak about it publicly, but he may have acknowledged it. So,
I had posed the question to Ali. He said it was an interesting question,
okay.
but he made a valid point. He said, "Me and you can have the exact same recipe for the same exact cake, and they'll both taste totally different.
Mm.
So what may work for me
Yep.
might not work for you." So he said, "Just listen. There's really no right or wrong way in this. My best friend, that's what she chooses to do. That works for her. That that works for her to live, somewhat in this bubble. That's her reality, and it works for her. But for me, it might work for me to acknowledge things and confront them head on." And to speak, and to speak them away or to work them away or whatever. You know what I mean? So, everybody's different. And I remember I was talking about the gentleman who had cancer, and I remember I was talking to a friend of ours, and she was like, "He act like nothing is wrong. He act like nothing is wrong." I said, "Him acting like nothing is wrong is probably what's saving him."
Mhm.
Because I just think that sometimes it's okay to be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. Sometimes it's okay not to claim it. Sometimes it's okay to not know. And I don't mean ignorant from an insult side of things, but like just not knowing or like being oblivious to certain things. Sometimes that works for some people.
Mm.
Because imagine if They would have told him. They told him he had stage 3 cancer. He's like, okay, well, should I get chemo and I'm all right? I'm all right. That was his thinking. But then he said, oh my God, I got cancer. I'm gonna die. It's over. Call the pastor. Call my mama. Take off for work. Put in for FMLA. I'm dying. You know, you see the difference?
Mhm, mhm. That's a good outlook. Not an outlook, but yeah, I understand that. If I go back to my mom, that's kind of how my mom knew something was wrong with her for the longest time. Never really acknowledged it. Into yes, the cancer was eating at a spot under her breast. Then she was like, she finally got to go to the doctor. Finally told us what the heck was going on. Went to the doctor. When we got the results though, and we told her, they called us. Um, because we had the authority to be able to speak on her account. They called us and told her our results, and so she was like, "Oh, so you saying I got stage 4 cancer, but they tell me it's not in my major organs, it's in my bones. Is this and this?" Like she was like, "Oh, I'm good," So her outtake that she did, or her outlook was just like, "Well, it ain't on your major organs." Is this so? What I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna take. She didn't take chemo, but she changed her eating, and she just stayed with that positive, that outlook until, of course, she passed. And they said at that point she only had a couple months. They said about 3 to 6 months when she was first diagnosed, and she
Hmm.
still lived 3 years. And whatever the cancer that she ended up passing from is not what initially she had. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
As soon as you
Uh-huh.
say the wrong stuff, be like, "Oh, my leg hurts. I got this. Lord, I'm about to dang on this." Look, your legs start going down. For real. My knee hurt. I can't even walk up the stairs. So,
What you think, Tiara? Rose. I'm sorry, I keep
Oh,
calling you T.
I
I
Rose.
mean,
know.
that's fine, but as we've been chatting in the back line, we had a lot of spirit interference on my end. Cause baby, y'all was sounding like aliens. Joy, you froze. Jazz froze. And Joy, when you froze, I saw your mom.
I
So,
just saw that. Okay.
you
Mm.
know, yeah. So you won't have to what exactly bring me up to speed. Cause baby, yeah, I don't know what was just going on. But based on what y'all just said, I guess is to be mindful of what you speak when things are going on. I kind of came in, we talking about someone's reaction to to illness in the body. Like saying I'm going to die versus okay, I'm gonna get chemo and move on. Um, but what exactly were we talking about? Or what y'all talking about?
Yeah, it was kind of that, kind of speaking on like acknowledging like what the issue is or not acknowledging.
Mm,
Yes. I think, but we came to this summation of
Hmm.
that it's the vibration that you put into
you said the vibration.
that you put into what you say. You
Mm.
know what I mean?
So is that the same thing with when you're doing I'll just use something simple as manifestation, like how we talk about the intention behind what you're speaking into existence. Is that the same
There's a
thing?
difference between saying, "Hey, um, I have stage 4 cancer. I began chemo on Tuesday. I'll be in remission
Okay.
within
Okay.
6 months." Or saying, "I have stage 4 cancer, and 80% of these people with stage 4 cancer die, and
Mm.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it." You see the difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's I think it has a lot to do with like how you see it and the energy that
hmm
you put into
Um, I just want to piggyback off of something when everything broke up. Um, So remember how it broke up, Jazz, when you were speaking of the separation from your best friend and how people come back around.
Mhm.
So right now I'm seeing that and experiencing that. There's someone who, like, you know, about 4 years ago. And now they're coming back around. I will say we have not spoken yet, but they have a heavy presence on my social media. So I did want to say that, and then kind of understanding like everybody. That for me is a definition of understanding that everybody has their own journey, because I'm someone that, like, I want all of us to, go and, kumbaya, and I have been in a space of solitude, as y'all know, for a while. So yeah, I just wanted to share
Yeah.
that.
It's not meant for everybody to kumbaya. And
I know.
some people are truly meant to come here and be destructive. Even us. We
Mm.
may have been good to some people in other lives, but we've come to be destructive.
Mm.
You ever dated a guy that had a girlfriend or a wife? Yeah.
And
Destructive.
have.
Destructive. Yeah, that was your purpose. Your purpose at that moment. The choice you made at that moment was to be destructive. Okay.
Was to
But
be
I
that
have
side
graduated from
chick.
that, okay? I graduated from
Good.
that. That's why my husband is coming to get me this summer, okay?
Me too. But I'd be lying if I would tell you I wasn't shit. I wasn't shit.
I mean, we all had our moments.
I've destroyed plenty of relationships. I ain't gonna hold and and people gotta understand we're not on here as spiritualists to say that
We're
we're better
perfect.
than everybody or we haven't
Yeah.
had human experiences. Cause that would be lying. And
Hmm.
I'm not in the business of lying. If you want to know who I really am, ask me. You know
Hmm.
what I came through and all the fuck shit I've done and what's been done to me. I don't hide
Hmm.
anything. I don't hide who I am. I don't pretend to be this perfect spiritualist or this perfect person. Hell, I got an old podcast. It's a year long with over 100 episodes on it called Jasmine's Journal.
Hmm. And that's
I'm my
where I
little
found
business.
you.
I'm my little business.
That's
I'm
where
my
I
little business
found you.
on it. What'd you say? What'd
And
you say,
that's where I
G?
found you. I used to faithfully, she would drop an episode, but like, oh, let me see what Jazz talking about. Sure
But
did.
you know what?
Absolutely.
Now that I think about it, I look back at it, I've come a long way. And even though I'm still growing and evolving and working towards mastery, I feel a lot of peace right now. I
Hmm.
Hmm.
and I think it comes with that shadow work, like your friend said you have to do, and like accepting every single piece of yourself and who you are, and
Hmm.
not being ashamed of who you are or who you were, because it's still essentially a part of who you are. Just embracing yourself and forgiving yourself and
And giving
forgiving
yourself grace.
others.
Nah, I
Giving
got
yourself
my thing is giving myself grace, because we are our own worst critics. Absolutely.
yes,
Right,
we are.
that part. Do y'all think, and I know we gotta if we gonna still do the readings, but that sometimes it may scare people to embrace all parts of themselves? You think
Yeah.
that's a scary road for people?
And most people don't know how. That's the thing. When I first stepped into my spiritual journey, it's funny. Yeah, I thought I was perfect. I'm like, oh, I got this. I'm a medium. I'm this big medium. I'm perfect. But all that old stuff I used to do and all that old shit I used to pull, it was all suppressed.
Mm,
So you don't even know you an issue. You don't know that your responses, or you don't know that you out here terrorizing people and wreaking havoc. You don't realize it because you deal with you every single day. You used to it. That's like if you walk up in a stinking ass house and if you in there long enough, you ain't gonna smell it no more.
mhm,
Let's
Yeah.
be real. You ain't. You ain't.
Hmm.
So Child, I've been a nurse 20 years. I'm immune to certain smells that other people be dying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm immune to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we become
I
so
can say
immune to
something
our
right now. You be
bullshit,
like,
we don't
"Yep."
realize it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But this spiritual journey is about stepping outside of yourself and saying, hey, I'm accountable for
Mm-hmm.
everything that has happened to me on this journey. I'm accountable because I am accountable for my own healing. Even if even if I was hurt at the hands of somebody else, if I was raped, if I was molested, if I was robbed, if I was taken advantage of, I was cheated on or whatever, or I did the cheating. That's a trauma response. You know, I am responsible for my healing, and healing starts with acknowledging that there's a problem.
Mhm.
An alcoholic can't quit drinking if they don't acknowledge that they're an alcoholic. A crackhead can't stop smoking crack unless they acknowledge that they smoke crack and it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people do not want to acknowledge the fact that their traumatic responses and how they respond and how they treat people and the things that they do and how they raise their children, they're not ready to hold themselves accountable for it. I deal
Mm-hmm.
with more adults, especially working in management. You deal with so many adults, they can't hold themselves. Tiara, how many people you work with that don't hold themselves accountable?
Girl. Yeah. See issues with everybody else. And it be like, but do you not realize I have that shit been sitting on your desk for the past 3 days? Yeah.
How many times have you sat down and tried to think of ways of absolving yourself from some shit that you did because you didn't want to hold yourself accountable? Thinking like,
Done
well,
all
if she
that.
wouldn't have did this to make me do this, then this wouldn't have happened.
Oh, absolutely.
We
Especially,
all do it.
especially when I was, young and reckless with my mouth.
Right.
Absolutely.
That part.
You shouldn't have said nothing
Absolutely.
to me.
Absolutely.
That was my response at work. Well, they shouldn't have said that they was gonna leave the building with no aides up in this building because they was sick of working short and they weren't even working short. They shouldn't have said it. Then that would have caused me to go off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that is the thing. People, it's so hard for people to hold themselves accountable. Um, yeah, that is one of the hardest things. And a short story of me. Even when it comes down to relationships, with me and my husband, when there was some issues that we had that led to certain things. Um, I had to take accountability and be like, "Yo, he expressed himself, but look, I wasn't trying to hear because I'm thinking I'm Miss Perfect, Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
you're the one. You have the issue, not me, So it takes some self reflection, and something like you said, accountability, and that stuff be hard for people to do.
side note, um, and I want to say this to everybody because then people be trying to say we're not absolving or removing guilt from anybody that has caused any pain.
Hmm.
We're not doing that. Okay. All we are saying is that we are responsible for our own actions and our own emotional responses. That I'm
Hmm.
not saying that that man that took advantage of you over there is not wrong. I'm not saying that that man that punched you in the eye or
Mm-hmm.
that woman that punched you in the
Mm-hmm.
eye and called the police on you and had you put in jail was wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that that woman that kept you away from your children is not wrong. I'm not taking that away from that. But what I'm saying is that we have to take accountability and be held accountable for our own actions and how we feel and how we respond. I just wanted to make sure I said that. Okay.
Hmm.
So, prime example with your spouse, even though you had to hold yourself accountable for whatever you were going through or whatever you had to work through in your relationship, whatever his response to what you were doing was doesn't make it right. Okay.
Hmm.
It's still healing.
Hmm.
People
But
be
the other
always trying
thing,
to go back and say we said some stuff that we ain't saying and we pick me all of a sudden. Shit. But no, can't say that.
but the other thing that I was going to say real quick is one thing that I'm learning, or have learned on this journey, is how we are a mirror for other people. you know. And of course, that's again things that ain't got nothing to do with us. Everyone has their own journey. So, for example, I don't know, like somebody watching our podcast, like they may be triggered by something that we said, but that's because it's something that's causing them, to look within their own journey, within their own life to see, where they can make changes you know, um, or how they may have played a role in a certain situation. So, yeah, I'll just say that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That's just one thing that I wanted to say because, yeah, 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 yeah. That's all I can say right now is yeah, because I'm just having thoughts of my own experiences of, seeing certain things and question myself like, why does that bother me? But it's a mirror to me. So,
I think everything is a mirror. It's a mirror of our own reality. It's a creation of our own reality.
okay, that
This
makes
shit
sense.
ain't real. Shit ain't real.
Well, see, Jazz, you going that's gonna go down a rabbit hole right now. Okay, we're gonna leave it at that because you already know where my mind about to go, and that's an offline conversation.
Another
Especially with you saying that.
episode 17, The Matrix.
AKA the simulation. Yeah.
Sam City.
Yeah.
Well, right
Okay.
now, what are we right now? GT. What's that game called? GT.
GT GTA or something.
Now I'm about
GTE
to say, I don't know because I
What's
don't
Grand
play
Theft.
video
the
games.
game creator of the? It's GT.
I don't
Gee,
know. I
we
don't
should know
know.
the name of this game. That's sad. I got sons and I can't think of the name of this game. Is it GT?
Yeah, I don't play video games. I don't know.
You
Oh,
know what I'm
GTA
talking about?
Grand Theft
GTA,
Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. That's what we living in right now. We in Grand-
That part.
Yeah, that's a whole. Yeah, that might have to
you
be
know,
episode 17 because we need to,
you
baby.
so y'all know my mind be going right, and it. Chat GPT is my best friend. I be talking to it every day. Like, what you doing? My one friend, I don't know how she programmed it, but she got her chat. And her chat GPT be like, "What up, sis? Like, how did you program it to call you sis?
What?
What if we were created like computers that have a certain function, and we were like artificial intelligent, and we just evolved all over time and learned how to replicate and create ourselves, and we're just walking AIs.
You
Remember
would
who we
though.
had?
Pierre,
We're
like
You
iRobot.
Jazz,
would.
you done went all the way left.
We became like iRobot, so they left us here on the planet. Like, fuck this. They done took over. We created them to do one thing. One thing. People that learned how to create their own civilizations, drive
So
cars, fly planes and shit.
okay, so with you saying that, I'm going to say this. So there is a theory, right,
Uh-huh.
that we are experiments. When I say we, the human beings are the experiment. So I'm just gonna leave that at that. And yeah, offline, cause yeah, I don't know they ready, cause
Maybe
yeah,
we're a
that's
virus in the earth. Maybe we're a virus in the earth. It's the petri dish.
mm,
We're just multiplying
well,
and
it
It could be.
killing, and we're destroying the earth.
We are destroying the earth.
Till the earth gets tired of us. And she gonna throw this cold eventually. Her immune system. Then we get earthquakes, tremors.
But
and
I'm about to
tsunamis.
say it's things
Let
already
now
happening that's showing that she is tired, right?
the
Because shit's
fevers,
happening that's
the
never
temperature
happened
warming,
before.
cool off, freezes. The earth is alive. It breathes. Natural disasters. Maybe that's its immune system, its defense mechanism.
Mm, that's a different way to look at it.
That makes sense though, because yeah, it's a lot of shit going on right now. Sorry, y'all. We brought some of our
So
offline
y'all,
conversations
with
to the
everything
recording.
that's going on right now in the world, guess what's going to happen? Guess what we need to expect? Natural disasters. And guess what
That's
happens during
about it.
major natural disasters? People die.
Well, I did have that dream about a tsunami happening like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Mm.
Well, see, with that, well, I didn't have that dream, but with the climate of the world right now, it just makes me think. And no, I'm not going in depth, but it makes me think of the dream that I shared with y'all with the women. Um,
Girl,
yeah,
hmm
with the women that I had, and in correlation with the mass grave. Remember, it was two parts. So.
I
Um,
thought about that a couple of days ago. I ain't gonna hold you.
because right now, one of my thought processes, because we just had an incident happen, and here in DC last weekend, this guy like drove on the National Mall, and people weren't fucking moving out the way, like they just looking la la la. I'm like, where's y'all situational awareness? Is shit going on over here, and y'all just sitting there. So if these are sleeper cells that's been activated, they could have blew all of y'all up, and y'all just sitting there like la 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 la. Oh, it's just a car that's up here. Nothing's gonna happen. So yeah, seeing that made me think of them because, and in my dream, that's something that's not going to be expected. But
Mm.
yeah,
I got a whole journal entry full of predictions. I think I'll share them one day. Um,
I don't think folks gonna be ready. That's gonna be another conversation. The fact that I think we spoke on this topic briefly before about the predictions and how we get what's the word I'm looking for, premonitions, um via our dreams, via downloads, to where I'm actually dealing with one right now that I've shared offline, um and I can't say nothing. So that's the challenging part of it. Um, yeah, I can't say nothing. It's the challenging part of it. So I'll just share this. So in this spiritual journey, if you are someone that has dreams, that have predictions, you will know from your spiritual team whether or not you can speak on it, or if you need to just shut the hell up. And one of the dreams that I had, it is something very serious. It's something that's going to be coming in my family, and I can't speak on it at all. Can't speak on it at all. So I'll just leave that at that. What are we doing? Because it's looking at the time, I got that other call.
we've reached our hour, so I mean, if y'all want to read, we can. But I just feel like we went over. I got my cards out if y'all want to read. But
That sound like we can go live this at the end of this week.
Joy, what you want to do? Should-
We can go live later this week.
That's what we'll do.
We
I'm
good with that?
cool with that.
I would
You
like to.
said what?
Thank, what'd you say?
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Joy had them cards ready.
I did. All of them.
Yeah, me too. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Mhm.
We can go
Mhm.
through them real quick. You know what? We can go through them real quick.
Tiara, what time your call?
This the shit Sierra be talking about. This right here. This shit right here. This it right here. Okay? Y'all just heard me say I got a call. Okay? We gonna go live at the end of the week. All right, cool. Let's do it. But we gonna do it the quick way. We doing the quick way.
What's
So
the
we
quick way?
splitting one. We splitting one, and then we doing each one the signs. We not going through the whole zodiac.
Y'all,
Tiara turned into Mama Joy. Mama Joy.
here,
Oh,
let's just each take an element. Somebody take water, somebody take earth, somebody take fire, and we'll still go lab. We'll just do that.
That's the quick way.
oh,
Okay.
shit. I done put my cards up.
That's the
God.
quick way. I'll
All
do
right.
fire.
All right. I'll do water.
I'll take care.
So we
All
got
right.
split earth. I'll do Taurus.
Gemini.
No, we splitting earth.
Oh, Capricorn. Capricorn.
Virgo. Oh,
All right, since y'all got y'all cards ready, go ahead.
I ain't ready no more. I am. Put them up.
So wait, are we doing like each one within that sign, or we just doing the whole?
We just doing the signs. So
Then how we
fire,
going?
air.
How we
We
going?
not going through the zodiac. We doing fire, air, water, and then we splitting the earth sign.
But then the
Earth
Earth going to each one if we split the Earth.
You said
gonna be
what?
special.
That's gonna be the
Earth
only
gonna be
one that we doing individually.
okay. All right, water. What's this about?
We live, y'all.
So water signs. Y'all been hard on yourself. Y'all been thinking about. Y'all feel like some of y'all might feel like your money is not where it's supposed to be at. Y'all feel like y'all supposed to have more right now. You're not really getting to what you really want to do. Like some of y'all want to take a summer vacation with your family, but the funds aren't naturally there the way you want it to be. And I just feel like from what the cards are saying that this is all just negative self-talk. You know what I mean? That you're not in as low of a space as you think you are with whatever you're going through in life. So I think for some water signs, you're just going through a big spiritual. It's like you're more introspection. You're thinking about money. Some of you might be thinking about changing jobs because you want to make more money, or you want to bring in more income, or you want to spread your wings a little bit more, and you feel like your job is kind of hindering you or holding you back, and you're looking for like that sweet spot. So for water signs, I would say my advice would be that you're not in as bad of a space as you think you're in.
Okay. I guess I'll go ahead with the air. Air signs. You was on jazz. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Okay. All right, air signs. What I show right now currently is it looks like a couple of air signs is going through a couple of different changes here. Um changes. I'm actually pulling towards like family dynamics. I'm not sure why, but I'm pulling towards family dynamics when it comes to the air signs here. With the changes that is taking place, I just need you guys to think logically, right? And not emotionally. Um, when I mean not emotionally, not taking everything as, and I'm not sure if it's like a scenario where maybe a new child is coming into place or maybe someone is leaving. I'm not sure what that is that I'm picking up, but just making sure that you're looking at the totality, you're looking at the full picture there with the changes that's happening for you guys. I also have cards here where it says your dreams need practical planning. So with that being said, just make sure that you're planning correctly there. With planning correctly, I do see that a couple of air signs is going to be stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping into some other things that maybe you wouldn't think that you have would step into, but you're taking that step and that leap and that courage to step into those things. I do see that there is going to be freedom with stepping into or out of your comfort zone. So this week, air signs, just understand you're moving into a different direction that you wouldn't think that you were going to be stepping into, and it is going to work out for you. And then for those air signs that is facing some changes within the family dynamic, just make sure you're moving logically and not with emotions there. Okay. Hope it resonates with you guys.
Okay, so I got the fire signs. Fire signs, I see you guys got some things going on in the workplace. Um, there's been some changes. When I say changes, like you going on your own individual journey, maybe you're trying to figure out. Some of y'all aren't happy. Basically, is what I'm getting. You're not happy in your current positions, and you're looking for changes. Um, I do see that there are going to be some of you that are going to be leveling up in your careers in a leadership slash management role. But the main thing I see for the fire signs is it's time to step out of your comfort zone. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
All right, Capricorn. I picked Capricorn, right?
Yep.
Capricorn, if you've been planning on doing something or working on something, the time is now. I feel like you've been wanting to make a change that has been on your mind, but you haven't quite shared it with anybody. And the time is basically now to make that move. Whatever it is, whether it be for some of you, it's going to be work related, like to move towards another job or to leave the current job that you're at. But for you, Cappy, it's definitely time for you to make the moves you've been feeling like you need to make. You're in alignment, and everything that you need is on your side.
All right. So for our Virgos right now, what I have for our Virgos is I think is this week is pulling towards self-reflection for you guys. Self-reflection is going in and just really getting back to know who you are, understanding you are good enough. So I feel like there may be a couple of Virgos that may be in scenarios when it comes to jobs. I'm gonna say even relationships where it feels like it may be too good to be true, right? Just understand that right now you are where you're supposed to be. So make sure that you are just loving on you and that you're embracing where you're currently at. If you do have any questions concerning anything that's to come up for you guys, just make sure you're connecting to the higher source or connecting to um, fill, building those connections with the creator and making sure that you're staying in alignment there. But other than that, y'all, Virgos, everything looks good for y'all. Just love on you and you good enough and you deserve whatever's to come for you, okay?
Okay, Taurus. So, um, Jazz, I got your usual. I'm getting a love reading for the Tauruses. This is gonna be for single Tauruses, and what I see, if y'all guys have went through a period of self reflection, and trying to figure out, you went through heartbreak and you're trying to figure out how to move forward, how to proceed forward, but most importantly you've been doing some healing, and what we, as y'all know, we always talk about shadow work, and kind of more so figuring out like what it is that you want in a relationship. I see, this specific particular set of sources. You guys are nurturers and you're givers. You've been pouring into people that are not pouring back into you. And I do see that once you go through a healing period as, of finding out exactly who you are, and making a necessary change to be a better you, there is a relationship that's coming for you that's going to be fulfilling. You're going to, it's going to be a give and take relationship. It won't be one sided. So that's what I have for the Tauruses.
Okay, okay.
Alrighty, that concludes our episode 16. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you, ladies, for coming on as always. It's always great chatting with you guys.
It's
No
always a
problem.
blast.
Of course.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Bye, y'all.
Thank y'all. See you later.